I just want to welcome everybody who's come along today, and particularly to welcome Sharon Cullington, because her fabulous book, Who Put the Kids in Charge, is a book that I personally desperately needed 20 years ago. And as I've worked with Sharon, I think, well, I've just got to be grateful for all of the people who get it now. And I just can't wait to see the ripple effect that starts happening, Sharon, once we really get out and start promoting the book. So enough from me. I want to welcome Sharon Cullington and just ask you to start by telling us why you wrote the book.
Thank you, Jane. I'm so excited to be here. My very first interview. It really is a very exciting time. And after writing the book, you were saying, oh, I hope you're celebrating. And it was sort of like, oh, the book's finished. And it was like, there wasn't any, but today just feels like a really exciting time to celebrate the book. So thank you for inviting me to your author's conversation today. So I wrote this book because I personally experienced what it was like to be an ineffective and unconscious parent, and being able to turn that around and parenting in a way that my children really responded well to. And it was because of a divorce that I had to change. And usually when we change in life, it's because of some drama. And so that's exactly what happened to me. And I lost my business and my money and my husband all in 2 weeks, and had 3 small children. So I had to quickly find somewhere to live and find some way to make money. And up until then, I'd been working so hard in the shops that I didn't have a lot of time with my children. They were sort of brought up with nannies, and so the time that I was with them, I wanted to spoil them and give them everything they could possibly want, and make them feel like, you know, I really wanted them to be happy. And that kind of worked when I only saw them for an hour a day or something. But all of a sudden, when I was with them a lot and trying to start businesses, I just found that they were getting quite disrespectful and unhappy and fighting amongst themselves. So I just thought, this isn't working. So I just actually sat them down one day and I said, this isn't working. Like, I'm yelling at you and you're fighting and whinging, and I don't want this to be our family. You know, like, we're the love family. Let's find a way that we can be that all the time. So I said, I'm the adult and you're the children. So what that actually means is I know more than you do. So I don't want you arguing when I ask you to do something, because I just don't have time for that. So if I say something, you know that it's for all of us. And it's not just about me that I want you to do things. It's so that our family can run happily and smoothly, and we can, you know, get along well and really enjoy being together. But I need some help. I need you all to pull your weight, and I need you to listen and look at me when I talk to you and respond. And I want you to have good manners. I want you to be like the best people you can be, because I want you to grow up and have a really great life. And you need to learn some skills for that to happen. And I need to give you some tools. So I'm prepared to teach them to you, but you've got to be prepared to listen. What do you think, guys? You know, and they're going, yeah, it sounds great.
Okay, and can I stop you for a sec and just ask, how old were they? Because that could sound incredible to some people.
It was quite incredible.
What? You told them that and they said yes?
Well, I think they'd had a sort of a respect for me all along.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were never completely out of control, but they were getting that way. So the youngest was 6, and there you go. I'm unmuted again. Yes, so it's amazing how it changed, and it's amazing how much more fun it was, And it made everything for all of us just so much nicer. And so I realised that I was onto something and I was really enjoying it. And so then I decided that I'd like to work with other families and help other mums to learn how to do that. And so I did the early childhood course, and I also did a life coaching course, so I could speak to other women about, how that they could do it. And so that women who were running businesses who didn't have the time to actually retrain children. So I wanted to help women who had small babies and started teaching them. So if you can get your children well behaved sort of after the age of 12 months, listening to you and wanting to hear what you've got to say, you don't have to retrain them. So you don't have the terrible twos to get through, which turn into the terrible teens. What you have is somebody who listens to you from the very beginning. And I've proven that time and time again, that it works with every single child that I work with. So, and it's a matter of finding the balance for that particular child of playfulness and fun and joy and letting them have their own way sometimes, but also being able to stop them and have control when you needed it. And, it's about boundaries, and it's about teaching them how to listen. And it's sort of really a 24/7 job when you're with them. You can't be with them and be unconscious. And I kind of try to avoid using that word in the book very much because, people think it's woo-woo, but, we're either conscious or we're not.
That's right. And I was about to jump in and say, well, look, this is where the book comes in a sense, because yes, you were working with the children, but you were also training the parents, whether they were aware of it or not. And this is really where the book is kind of a gentle way for people to start breaking down whatever resistance or denial they may have. But, they have to have enough belief that something needs to happen, I guess, the belief that they need to change to pick up the book in the first place. But tell us a little bit about, I love the way you've structured the book and why you've structured it that way. So share a little bit about that.
Well, I tried to put all of that into the book, and sometimes it might sound a bit repetitive, but basically what it comes down to is a way of being. It's a beingness. So it's not about putting out fires all the time. It's about just having a way of being together, which starts with you being a great leader. And so the book's put in 3 sections, and the first section is all about the calm leader. And the acronym CALM we'll go through in a moment, because I want to carefully explain that, because that's really the basis of the book. The second section is about working as a team together. And that's about being together and enjoying being together and trusting each other. There has to be 100% trust that they know what you say is for them as much as for you. So if they don't trust that, and you insist they do something they don't want to do, then it starts becoming you against me. And so I've got to win sometimes. And if I win, you lose, and all that sort of stuff. So it eliminates all of that. And enjoying being together is part of the team. And affection. It's really important to be playful and have affection with your children all the time. They love it, and even like an 11-year-old who's all pre-teeny and, wants to be all independent, they'll reject it at first if they're not used to it. But if you keep insisting, they love it. They love you rolling around the floor with them and tickling them and, pretending to wrestle and all that sort of stuff. Everyone loves to be touched and have affection. And the M in that is management, like managing the children, and also the way you speak to each other mindfully. It's very important that you're able to get children to learn how to think, and which is so funny, because I remember when I was about, 7 or 8, my father had lost his nail scissors, which put him into a bit of a spin, and he's going, Sharon, where are they? Where are they, your nail scissors? I thought, I don't know, I haven't seen them. And he's going, you must have taken them. You must have put them somewhere, just think, Sharon, think. And I can remember looking at him thinking, what does he mean by that? Like, I had no idea. So the earlier you get to your children to get them to logically think about what they're doing and what they need to do, you're helping them.
And indeed, what you talk about in the book as well, that your father missed, was that you explain what you mean.
Exactly. Yes. And so that's about the togetherness. And then the third section of the book is getting the children to play ball. So understanding what their boundaries are, so that they know that they've got them and they need to adhere to them, and that they'll be changing as they change, but to understand that that's part of life. And that in life there are things that we don't like doing, but we've got to learn to do them happily. And when children know that, they go, oh, well, off I go and do it, rather than it's a big thing. The things they don't like doing, you can get them to do those happily. It makes a whole big difference to their lives.
Absolutely. Well, life lesson, important life lesson, isn't it?
It is. And appreciation is the A in team, where they're learning that every time you give them a drink, or every time you help them with their homework, or pick them up from school, or make their dinner, you're doing something for them. So they need to appreciate that, and they need to say thank you and have good manners. And when children get into that state of being, it just makes their lives happier, because they're thinking, oh, I'm so lucky. Rather than the children that are given things and they don't even notice how much everyone's doing for them. And then, well, why haven't I got more? There's never enough, is there?
And of course, not to mention the energy that they generate around themselves. They show their appreciation, they have gratitude, that bounces off other people, just as anger does. And it's just such a win-win, isn't it? But learning these skills young, what a gift.
What a gift it is. And people think that discipline is a punishment of some kind. But as far as I can tell, children with discipline are happier. And to me, it's like giving them a gift. And the way you raise your children doesn't only affect your life or their lives, it affects their school teachers' lives, it affects their friends' lives, it affects everyone they come in contact with when they grow up and go to work, but it also affects all the generations that come after them.
Massive ripple effect.
So the importance of doing this and getting it right is like the biggest job you'll ever have in your life, really, the most important job. You're changing the world by changing your child, and giving them these skills. And it's the most beautiful way and enjoyable way, because once your children get that appreciation, they're so fun and they're so funny and they're so affectionate, and you feel valued yourself, and you think, this is worth all the hard work.
Beautiful. Now, tell us a little bit more about the foundational piece, about the calm.
Okay, so
calm parent. That was my favourite part of the book, is my favourite part of the book.
Thank you. So communication is everything, isn't it?
Yep. So acronym number 1, C for communication.
C for communication. So, and it's also bodily communication with them. So it's not only just the tone of your voice or the way that you're speaking to them, but always, even from a baby, like when a baby's born, they can't take their eyes off you. And then once they start running around, all that sort of changes. And then so many families I go into, I see them looking at, their phone while they're saying to, go and get your shoes, go and do this, don't do that, while they're looking at a device. So children then do the same thing, they're looking at something else while they're yelling something back at you or ignoring you. And so it's just a really bad way to try and connect or have a relationship if you can't communicate well. So putting a lot of effort into that is really important. Even like with your preteens, if they're, starting to get moody and whatever, watch them change when you smile every time they walk into the room. or you touch them on the shoulder when they walk past you, you know, or ruffle their hair, or just say something sweet to them, they melt, you know, and they stop wanting to be your enemy or wanting to push you out of their lives. All of a sudden, you know, they want to start telling you about what's going on for them. And if they can't talk to you and if you can't be there for them, it's pretty lonely, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
their advice is coming from another kid the same age, or heaven knows who, you know, their perspective on the world isn't, you know, can't end up being the one that you know is best for them. And it's our job to make sure that we make them the best, well-balanced person we can, so then they can go off into the world and discover it and do all the things that they want to do. But we need to give them the foundation. But I always say having children is the best personal development course you'll ever do.
I think you're right. I think you're right there.
We're growing with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing and moving and becoming our best selves because we want to be that for them. So you know, that's sort of job. So we're up to seek for communication. And A is for attention. So you've got to make sure that you can see if they're upset, or you can see if things in the home aren't working. You've got to really like wake up and have a good look and get conscious, because a lot of us are going on autopilot, either parenting like our parents or the opposite because we didn't like what they did, or, you know, parenting from some style we read online somewhere, you know, don't say no to the child and be careful, they're fragile and you could hurt their feelings, you know. But look, they're tough and they're resilient and they want you to be honest and real with them. And they want to know what you've got to teach them, you know, so they can get out there and conquer the world. So, you know, have a look and see if what you're doing is working. Are your children happy? Are they respectful? Are they growing and being their best selves? Like, how are they with other people? Be attentive. And that's really very important. The next one is L for leadership. So you can't run your family if you can't be a great leader. And you can't have great kids to be part of your team if they don't see a leader that they want to listen to. So you do have to have a look at what you're doing and see if you do need to raise your voice a little bit more or settle it down a little bit more. Like, you know, we don't want to be overreactive. Like, think, what are the qualities of a great leader? And then be that. You know, the qualities of caring about everybody in the team and being there for them and teaching them how to, you know, listen and how to try things they don't want to try. So leadership's important, and that's one of the personal development things we need to be aware of and make sure that we do for ourselves. And then the M is for management, and that's a really big job as well, because we've got to manage the house. We've got to manage all the kids' school stuff. We've got to manage their clothes, their food, the meals, the washing, this, that. So you need your team to get on board with you and help, you know, and not just, you know, a small amount of, oh, I brought the washing in for you. No, darling, fold it and put it in the drawers where it belongs, you know, thank you for that. But, you know, I need you to do a bit more. I'm cooking dinner. I've picked you up from ballet. I've done this and I've done that. And so helping children to go, oh, yeah, okay, you know, like that, they're going to feel things they don't want to do. And they're going to think, oh, I don't really want to do that. And you can acknowledge that with them, because we all have negative feelings, but acknowledge them, step through them, come out the other end, and then get on with it, you know. And for a single mother with 3 children, you know, running businesses and all the rest of it, that's how I've had to live my life raising my children. And I've loved it. So if I can help other mums, particularly because I'm a mum, but if dads do the same thing, it'll prove with the right results, same results, you know, take charge, run your family with love and affection and discipline, and everyone's going to thrive and contribute to the world and be the best person they can be.
And I know you've identified a particular group of people in need, and that is the recently divorced people.
Yes.
You know, people sort of straddling. You've got kids straddling two different parenting styles, you know, potentially, and all of the difficulties there. So that's, I think, just a fabulous. You know, it's an awareness on your part, of course, but you've been there, done that, haven't you?
I have. But wouldn't it be great if they both read the book and could see, yes, that could actually work with my kids. Let's do it together. Wouldn't that change the world?
You bet.
Yeah, how many
Absolutely.
children are going, oh, you know, Dad let us do this, or Mum wouldn't, and you know, but how lovely if people worked together every time they had a separation.
Yes,
It'd
yes.
be huge.
And of course, we know that people who read your book are going to fall in love with you and what you're saying, even though some of it is not easy to hear and not easy to take on board.
Thank you. I hope that. I'm a bit terrified of haters because, you know, I'm empowering parents 100%, not the children.
Yep.
So it's a bit controversial.
Well, and the thing is, of course, that every man and his dog has an opinion. And people will choose to listen or not listen, but those who listen will benefit greatly. And of course, those who need more, who go, oh, she gets me, then there is the next step that you've developed now, which is your 7 days to well behave. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, thank you, Danny. So that's just something new since you helped me get my book out on the shelves. So I've got a 7 days to well behaved Facebook group to start, and you can also buy the book if anyone's interested in buying it on Sharon Cullington Parenting Matters.com. And then we get into a group of people that join the Facebook group. And then we start working together with everybody talking about their challenges. And then once a week, I come on and answer everyone's questions. And I'm also in the middle of creating a program, a video course program on the book. So I wanted to say to Jane, like, if anyone can write a book, if I can write a book, anyone can write a book. And I feel like I couldn't have done it without you. So, you know, I want to talk a bit more about that later. But now writing a course as well, to think of myself, who's never had a job sitting in front of a computer, who finished school at the age of 14, that I can come and still sit down and finish a book with your fabulous help, then anyone can do it. So anyone who's listening to this and who's got a story and got a message that they want to send out into the world, then please come and see Jane, because I did have half a dozen people over a 5-year period trying to help me get this book into some structure or give it a tone or edit it. But I just didn't like anything anyone did. And, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to do it yourself. But if you've got somebody that's loving and caring and really wants to help you, that's what it takes. Like, and, you know, I remember going to a course with, what was his name? Jerry Roberts, is that his name? Do you know that guy? He does how to get a book out or something. So, and I met Donna there. And so we went along together, and I met her there. And he said, listen, just get the book published, just get it out there on the shelves, and no one's going to read it, so don't worry about it.
Oh, well, some people, believe it or not, are motivated by that message. However, not people like you, because you've put your heart and soul in because you want to help people.
I really do.
It's not about you. This is not about you. That was one of the things that connected us. And not to mention the fact that my first book took me 5 years to write as well. So I resonated on so many levels. But no, I'm very, very glad that we got to work together, because I learned so much from you. Even though I say I wish I had your book 20 years ago, I still learned some stuff about communicating. And you know, my daughter may be 20 now, but there are still times where I think, oh, hey, that was a reaction. I was just triggered. And I noticed it, and I just, took that moment. I attended, I had attention, and it was just a good reminder, is just have attention to what's coming up for yourself, so that you're not then projecting it onto the kid they're just being themselves. They're just trying to work their stuff out. And it's just this wonderful way of life, really. The weft and the weave of the universe was a beautiful saying I once heard. And we're all finding our way.
Yeah, exactly right. But it is our responsibility to provide our children with as many tools as we can, because if we don't, who will? If we don't try and make their lives better, and even if we don't do that for another single soul on the planet, we need to do it for our children. And if we don't have the skills, we need to learn them, because it's the most important thing ever. And the other message in the book is that they are learnable. It's not that we come into this world and we either are going to be a good parent or we're not. Take responsibility, step up, and there are people to help. That's the other message here too, is you don't have to go it alone. You don't have to struggle, re-engineer the wheel. You've got somebody here who can guide you through. And all those years of experience, if you actually multiplied the fact of the change you've made in your own kids' lives, but also the people that you've worked with, then this is really quite a substantial, for want of a better word, you have established your credibility many times over. And, I'm just really grateful and hopeful for the people who find you, because, it's going to help. It's going to free their energy to do other things. And as you were saying about building businesses, I better not go on, because I am as evangelical as you are. But, keep telling us a little bit more, though, about where to from here. You did the hero's journey. I love talking about the hero's journey. You did the hero's journey of working out how the heck to build a sales funnel. Will you tell us more about that? Don't know if it was the hero's journey yet, but I love talking about it now. You got me all excited about it. So I had somebody find me online who suggested I needed a funnel, and it started with fun. So I thought, okay, sounds good. So anyway, I should have researched this person a bit better, and it's been a real struggle to get it anywhere near anything that I like the look of. So I'm about 80% there and still working on it. So, but as we all know, with the hero's journey, we get some things that work and we go down again, and we go up and we go down. So I'm on the upward, hopefully shortly. If anyone knows anyone that can help me finish a funnel and get it nice. But actually what I was wanting to hear a little more about too was just the way you're using the book in the funnel, so that the book is, if we use the language, the book is the lead magnet. The book is the thing that the person, will opt in for. Oh, so that's what you'll find if you go to Sharon Cullington Parenting Matters. So you'll find another little video of me talking about the book and why it's needed, and it's only $7 and it takes you through into this funnel. But I've joined ClickFunnels, and so the last week I've been all day watching their videos, and as soon as I've finished that video, I've forgotten everything that I heard. And that's why the book was a struggle for me as well, because I just found that some people are authors and some people aren't, but funnily enough, and I'm hoping my funnel will be the same as the book, that if I keep persevering and I don't give up, because it's all about, first of all, it's about, patience. And then perseverance and persistence. And then you end up always getting what you want, because you just only lose when you give up. And that's something I've learned in this whole journey. Never, ever, ever give up if you really want something. So this funnel will keep going until I get it right. But I think when you do have a book, I think that's a nice way to get it out to the world, because you can give it away for, I'm doing it for $7. You can give it away for free if you like. and you can still get some, you know, people that can come along and learn about, you know, what you've got to share with them via that funnel, which they may never have found you another way.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about a book, and having the book as the you know, as I say, the lead magnet, is that it's a very safe space for people. You know, they may be having chaos going on in their homes, and I know you've worked with people literally at that level, or they may just be unsettled about the fact that they don't really feel they're coping, or they're worried about, you know, how do they equip their kids with what they need to get through the world as it is. And the book is just an easy way for people to get a bit of a feel for who you are and what your program looks like. They'll have their aha moments in the process. And the funnel, as much as we call it, it's a sales funnel, it's about, you know, building our businesses up. But essentially, it's about giving people an opportunity to see if they get you and feel like you get them. And then, of course, that sales funnel then includes a place where they can also opt in to have a conversation with you, an actual one-on-one conversation, so that, again, they get to test things out and you get to test things out, because it's about a fit, isn't it?
I love that conversation, Jane, and it's free. And, you know, I'm happy to give my book away to anyone for free. I'm happy to talk to anyone for free. You know, I would really love if anyone knows any way I can get my book to, you know, women in jails that, you know, when they come out, they'd like a new way of, or any disadvantaged women, you know, I think it's really important. But I forgot what I was going to say. What did you just say to me?
Was about the sales funnel and the conversation. You said, I love
the conversation. So the conversation's great, because I've helped really 100 women just through a conversation. And just one conversation does it often. And it's that, you know, like my child like eats and goes to sleep and, you know, does this and that, but they won't look at me when I talk to them. And, you know, I say, you know, tell them to look at me, and I go, well, what are you doing when you're talking to them? And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, is your phone like in your hand or anywhere near you? But if you just put your phone down and then just go and touch them on the shoulder and hold their little face in your hand and just say, darling, you know, I want you to look at me every time you hear me say your name, okay? You know, and they go, oh, okay. And then they start doing it. Like, it's often as easy as that. Or there's others, the children won't sleep. They'll get up 12 times every night and they won't eat vegetables and they won't answer you and they won't. And it's very much just the same thing. You know, you just say to them, like, this isn't working for us. So let's see what we can do to stop this from happening. So what's going to happen? I'm going to put you into bed and I'm going to read you a story and I'm going to hug you and we're going to have a little chat and I'll tickle your back and I'll sing you the good night song and then I'm going to turn the light off. Oh, but I get scared. Well, this is when the light's on and this is when it's off and it all looks the same, so there's nothing to be scared of. And, you know, just everything's matter of fact and don't engage in their fear of whatever. But, you know, if it's a little bubba, you can put a little night light in there or something. But I'm going to turn the light off now and I'm going to shut the door and I'll just be out there and all you have to do is take a deep breath and go to sleep. And so if a child actually does go to sleep and then wakes up 12 times, you say, no, you don't have to call out. When you wake up, you just roll over to the other side and soften up your little pillow, take a deep breath and rock a little bit and you'll go straight back to sleep. And I can't tell you how many children I've said that to, and they go straight, and their parents, oh no, they've got sleep issues and we've got to give them melatonin and, you know, they're so scared. No, you just tell them what they've got to do and they do it. Eat your food. I'll give you broccoli first when the little green tree's gone, then I might give you some meat or chicken, and you know, when that's gone, and you know, we might have something else that you like, but straight away just eat the things, shove them in, swallow it, and it's gone. Next thing, oh, look at the carrot, that's yummy too.
It's a big deal, the food thing. I mean, the sleep thing as well. And how are you setting these are people who will grow up to have sleep problems and or food problems if they're not addressed? Because I think if kids have their choice, they'll be having white and brown food.
Exactly.
They're not going to go for the green stuff or the red stuff. And it's really, there's a lot at stake.
well, they're not capable of making an
Mm.
informed decision.
Mm.
They can go, oh yeah, I'll have what I had last time, or like, I don't like it. And I even had a child the other day. I don't like. What did he say? I don't like. Oh, I didn't like the onion in the spaghetti bolognese. I said, darling, it tastes exactly the same as everything else, and they shove it in, chew and swallow like that. Oh no, but I don't like it. And I told him a story. I said, oh, I knew a little boy once, and he came home and he said, oh, I don't like tomatoes. And I went, oh, really, don't you? And he said, no, I don't want to eat them, because he'd been to his friend's house who didn't like tomatoes. And then the next thing, he didn't like broccoli. He didn't like anything green. And oh, really? Don't, okay, And then you know what he ate? Space food sticks, green apples, and cheese for years. And you know who that was? My son.
Oh, nice honesty. Yeah, good.
So no, I don't care what you do, like, don't like, whatever. I'm the mother. I know what you should be eating, and it's yummy and nutritious for your body, and that's why you're eating it. Okay. And when all that's gone, there might be something yummy afterwards. So that's another little trick. You always give them something to look forward to when they do the yucky stuff. There's always a good thing at the end.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, I think we might be ready to open up for question and answer. What do you think, Sharon?
Yeah, otherwise I'll just get going forever.
I know that would be good too, but we'll target in on what people are wondering at this stage. Is there anyone with a question?
I'd like to ask, and thank you for this, I'd like to ask, what do you think the biggest thing that today's parents are struggling with that you see that ends up making their life hard?
Thank you, Maggie. That's a very good question, because that is very simple to answer. It's too much conflicting information that is causing parents to be fearful of taking charge and saying no, and forcing their children to eat the things they say they don't want to eat and do the things they don't want to do. So and if you go online, it's quite terrifying, and it's a bit similar to if you have, something wrong with your body and you start Googling it, you're sure you're going to die. It's a bit like that, there's so much information until you find out that, you don't do anything and everything's better. So, or people might try something that they've read, but if it doesn't have all the backup of the conviction of it, children will boss you around and tell you, no, I don't want to do, and then you cave in, and, and it's the caving in, if you decide you're going to do something, even if halfway through you realise, oh, I guess I didn't really have to say that, you still got to stick to your word, because you've got to look like the leader that knows what they're doing. Because eventually what happens is that if a child can convince you that you're wrong, or that what you said we're doing, we're not doing, or if what they want is more important than what you want, then eventually they'll stop trusting you. And they'll start thinking, well, if a 6-year-old can convince you you're wrong, well, maybe you are always wrong. So how can they want to learn and grow and listen to everything you've got to say? So I think, I think women especially have got to get in touch with their intuition and with their innate knowing, and with their, intelligence and their trust in themselves. But to do that, you've got to be that calm parent. So you've got to nurture yourself. You can't be stressed. You can't be resentful or martyred. You've got to understand, is that going on for me? And if it is, I'll deal with that. And I'll meditate or sit in nature, or I'll take a deep breath or a step back before I respond. And when you know that you're coming from a strong place and a centered place, your children feel that, and they start wanting to know what you've got to know.
Thank you, Sharon.
About looking after yourself.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I may. It's Jill Sweetman. Sharon, I just loved everything that you had to say, and I know that you and I have spoken in the past about the importance of putting aside devices when parents are dealing with children. Could you just identify one or two key things that you've noticed that's really detrimental for mums dealing with their children, and the conflict that provides unfortunately, and the fallout of that is that the child doesn't see themselves as the real focus of the attention. You're not getting that eye to eye. What are you finding in the work that you're doing?
Well, the devices, you're absolutely right, have a lot of consequences, long-term consequences. And most certainly the eye contact. If a child's got a device in their hand, they won't look into your eyes because, they can't wait to get onto that screen. So some families that I've worked with have some really great boundaries around devices. And one of the, first of all, it's a time frame, like that they might say you can have your computer if you need it for schoolwork, but you'll be sitting in the dining room with us or, in the office together and you'll just be doing schoolwork. And, or the parent will go and check up on it that it is actually schoolwork going on. And if it's not schoolwork, that gets put away. And you're going to have to explain to the teacher why you can't do it on your computer for the next day.
Very good.
Yeah. And
I like that one.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that it's got to have a time frame, if it's, just for socializing or, playing games. So, 15 minutes to an hour maximum, because after that time, they get so hooked into it that when you say, okay, time's up and take it away, oh, please, Mummy, please, or no, you can't have it. Or I've experienced a 7-year-old who turned into the devil when it was taken away, knowing full well that after an hour it was going to get taken away, swearing at the mother, what do you calling, it was just horrendous. And so I said to the mother, take it away for a week. Every time that happens, take it away for a week. So it's not up to her when she gets it back or when she can talk to you. It's gone for a week.
Yeah.
So the next time you get the computer, these are the rules. Put a timer on, let them know 5 minutes before. It's like, when you leave, you want them to get in the bath. Tell them 5 minutes before. Okay, I'm coming to get you in 5 minutes to put you in the bath. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to get you in 5 minutes to turn that thing off. Okay, mm-hmm. So close it down, say goodbye to whoever. Mm-hmm. The other thing, of course, is keeping a really close eye on who they are talking to. It's quite terrifying.
Yeah.
The people that can find them.
I'm fascinated. I'm sorry. I'm fascinated that you're noticing a difference after an hour. People say to me all the time, well, how much time can they have? It's interesting that you're saying, an hour is too much because they've already got so involved in it and can't give attention after that. And then the demon is released.
That's so right. It's exactly what happened.
Though, isn't it?
It's terrifying. It's awful. And so on. Even when my children grow up, I have to admit, they watched quite a bit of television, but we'd often be watching it together.
Yeah, that's
and we'd all be in the same room. Mm. And it was still kind of a communal family thing that, well, let's watch this show or let's do that, But we lived, we were lucky because we lived in an area where there was lots of beach and bush around us. So they were always out hanging out with friends and, I hate to think what they got up to sometimes, but they were autonomous and they were discovering things and they were growing and hanging out with kids. And so many children don't even hang out with other children at the moment.
No, they don't.
I mean, they can't during COVID, of course, but even prior, the last one, I live in Balmain, I walk down the street, I never see a child. Never. I go to the park and there's lots of little children with, mum and dad playing, but you don't see 5, 6, 7. But I'm up here at U Minor staying with my daughter, Ellie. It's like being in heaven in 1950. There's kids everywhere on bikes and dogs barking and parents, waving to each other and, it's just fun and gorgeous. And the kids, come over and say, oh, can we come and see Sabali? Because I've got my daughter, Sabali, there he is there. He's just the most beautiful. Every time they say, oh, Sabali, and they say, oh, we'll bring him home for you. And I lost him one day and Ellie was at work. And about 8 kids came and said, we'll find him. And they were in and out of everyone's backyard, and they're on this real mission, you know, and it was exciting for them, but it was so lovely for me. Why don't we see that now with our children? You know, we need to get them outside and let them free for a little while. Like, every kid's not going to get kidnapped. You know, like, really, how many people are being kidnapped from Balmain? Like, none. I used to wander the streets myself, and I think that's why I've been able to go from, you know, having nothing to creating something, because as a child, that's what I did. I was out and about, you know, finding things to do. And we lived in Balmain, and there was a place where the ships used to drop their engines, and I remember unscrewing all the bolts and sticking my finger in all the gooey stuff there, and I must have been about 3, you know, and then I could see how engines are all put together. I hate to think what condition I got home in, but yeah, it's just sad that children are having a virtual life on a screen, and, you know, getting this instant gratification, you know, constant likes, constant buzzing, whistles and bells, and then nature all of a sudden looks boring to them. You know, to go in nature, you've got to be still. Your mind's got to be still, you know, to appreciate. My son will walk down the street and he'll, you know, call me 5 times. Oh, Mum, look at these little purple flowers growing out of this fence here, you know, how cute are they, you know? The jasmine's coming out, you know, or photos of him with jasmine everywhere. Like, you know, he's really learnt to appreciate, or the 3 of them have. They've all spent time in nature, and they love it. And we need to give that back to our kids.
And I think you made a salient point, and that is that you became an observer. You observed what was around you, and to take those nuts and bolts off and stick your finger in the sticky bits, that's gorgeous. But part of that is that you are creating your own fun, but you're also using your hands and learning fine motor skills and being dexterous. You know, unfortunately, just using a mouse, and I've got one here, you know, we're not using our hands the way we once could. And anyway,
yeah.
It's great. I'm enjoying this so much, and I will let somebody else ask a question. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Jill.
I have a question for May. Thank you, Sharon and Jane. Our youngest is 14. We're in Howard Springs quarantine at the moment, so it's not really the typical time around normal life, you know, COVID or not. But she's this reserved young lady. And the thing that worries me most about her is that no matter what we try, it's difficult to find her, to inspire her to be curious about life. And to me, that's important, about being curious and asking questions. And if you don't know the answer, being able to look it up. And you know, the answers are at your fingertips now, like, compared to when I was young. And that lack of curiosity does worry me. I just wonder if you have any tips for that.
Yeah, I think, thank you for asking that question. I've never been asked that question before. And I think it's something you could, like, really dig deeper into to find out. But I find, I had a little girl from 12 weeks to 9 years, casually, as she got older. But she was a very reserved little thing, and her parents were as well. And we used to have her in our family, like, just, you know, being one. But she pretended she didn't, but she loved physical contact, you know. And I used to, like, lie on the floor and put her on my feet and put her up and down and do flying horsey and, you know, wrestle with her every time. And, like, with all the children, I squeeze them really hard at the top of their knees and in their ears. And I say, every day you need a bit of pain, you've got to toughen you up. They all go, oh, it was my time for pain, you know, but they always laugh and they always love it, you know. The parents sometimes look at me, what's she doing to them? But, you know, I think physically, if you can get her engaged with you, you know, and just say, listen to that bird, I wonder what sort of bird it is. Let's go and see it. You know, maybe just start really simple little things with her and grab her hand and run around. And she goes, don't let her say, no, I don't want to. You know, just grab her and say, no, come on, we're going. I'll piggyback you, or whatever you've got to do, you know, or you can piggyback me, you know, pretend to jump on her back. You know, whatever you've got to do to make it fun to be with you. you know, and then introduce her to the things that you love doing as well, you know, and always talk to her, you know, even when you're putting your makeup on. I wonder if I should put the pink lippy or the red lippy today. What should I do? I don't know. I wonder if there's many poisons in this thing, you know, like just get her to start thinking about every little thing that's going on. And yeah, what do you think? And then get her opinion. So if she's, yeah, I think there's, well, throwing that one out, you know, you can always go and get it later. But, you know, playing little games and making up little stories and being physical, I think that would help a lot.
Thank you.
But call me anytime, give it a go and let me know what happens.
Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne, thank you for the question.
You've really given people a lot to think about, Sharon. And as I say, I can't wait to see the ripple effect of that book of yours. And just one more time, because I'm really conscious of the people I send this recording to, of course, who haven't been able to ask you questions here. So they may want to book in to have one of those sessions with you. So
Lovely.
Just say again how they do that.
So you can book that call on SharonCullington.com, or you can get the book for $7, the ebook, on SharonCullingtonParentingMatters.com. And then you can have a conversation with me and lots of other things. But today I'd like to give everyone a sheet that I'm mad about, which is 73 things I've learned about discipline and what it is and what it isn't. And it's really great for everyone to have. But if anyone wants that, they can just send me an email and I'll send it back to them, which is SharonCullington@gmail.com. So I can send them that sheet.
Fantastic. Well, Sharon, thank you so much for this. And thank you for writing the book. And I really mean that, because I just think it's so timely, though. We're talking about devices. We're talking about kids not experimenting in the way that you talked about and that Jill's, you know, referenced as well. And I'm really, really grateful that you've put the effort in and that you're now refocusing in on spreading the word. And I just want to say to everybody, watch this space, because, you know, there will be activity.